Hi, everybody. This is Rob Viglione, your host for today's Horizen Monthly Live Update. This is July 3rd, 2019. We're going to go through the usual stuff here. So for those that haven't joined us in the past, we like to cover the big picture items, things that we've accomplished and things that we're working on. I'll show you basically the roadmap that we have for the rest of the year. We'll go through accomplishments on the project side, and then we're going to go through business development activities. So I'm going to hand to Luca to do the BD portion this week. And then he's also going to do the developer projects updates since he's with the engineering team in Milan. And we'll hand it off to Allan to do the node system updates. And then Lucy will cover the marketing updates as usual. And then we're going to see the regional activity. So you'll see what the Horizen community is doing around the world. And guys, we've closed out the second quarter of the year, and now we're marching into the third quarter of the year. So already half of the year has been closed out, and we're going to cover for you just a recap of what we've done in the last quarter, basically what we've done in the first half of the year. And you'll see in the project's summary tables of what we're working on right now and what will be delivered throughout the rest of the next 2 quarters of the year. So a lot of really exciting stuff ongoing, progress made in all areas. And we'll distill it down for you and then cover some Q&A at the end. So save your questions and post them in our Discord channel or on YouTube, and we'll get to them at the end here. So next slide, please. So guys, a big part of this, because we invest a bunch of resources, our personnel, our time, our talent, into putting these monthly reports together for you guys. We just don't want this to be a one-way dialogue. So, engagement is really important. So engagement from our listeners, engagement from the community, education to make sure that you know exactly what's going on is really important. So part of this is we've implemented this trivia program. We've been doing this already now for a couple of different live streams, and we're going to continue it. So stay tuned for questions at the end here. We're going to quiz you guys on what's been ongoing, what you've heard here, and we'll have 3 lucky winners that we do every month. So next slide, please. Okay, obviously a big portion of what goes on in this project is our community development. It's really at the heart of what we are as a project. So every month we like to highlight 3 outstanding community members, people that have really gone way above and beyond to help out others within the community, whether that's with technical issues, just helping people who really aren't familiar with how we operate, how what's on the project roadmap, what we're working on. So 3 members that I'd like to highlight today. This is some recurring members here. So peace, Stu. Don't let this get to your head, but I had to nominate you this month. You've just been ridiculously helpful as always, and part of the notes that were written down here is if I had to go into all of the things that you do to help out in the community, it would take way too long of this this live stream. So we're not going to do that, and nor do I want it to get to your head. So, but nonetheless, thank you so much for everything, doing what you do. Please keep it up. We all count on you. Mr. Node It All, so super helpful with node support and tutorial videos, which our node program is a very big part of our overall architecture and what we do. So a big part of our community are node operators, and it's not the easiest thing in the world to spin up a secure super node. So going through those mechanics and having help and clean tutorials to make the process more seamless is really important and super helpful. So thank you very much, Mr. Node It All. Love the name, by the way. And Red Pill, again, love the name. And thank you so much for helping test Sphere by Horizen and helping our QA team make sure that the product that we release to market is ongoing, not just successful, but seamless, smooth, robust products, really important for us. So thank you very much for that kind of community involvement on the technical side. Next slide, please. And here is where I will hand it off to Luca to kick off a couple of the business development updates.
Thank you, Rob. Hi, everybody. So today I will be privileged to present the business development slides, and I'll start from this one. So I'm very glad to inform you about our most recent partnership that is bringing Zen on Magnum. This is a very cool non-custodial web and mobile wallet, and it's compatible with the hardware wallets for extra security. So Magnum itself announced it earlier today, the partnership with Horizen. The news was posted on their social media and was welcomed by the community. If you're not following it yet, feel free to check out their Twitter page. You should see the details here on the slide, bottom left. So we believe it's a very cool partnership and gives our users one extra way to safely store their Zen. Something interesting is also represented by the fact that it's possible to set up a Telegram bot for transaction notifications, and also the Z transaction support is coming in a few months. Next slide, please. So Simple Swap, this is a partnership that we announced during the month of June. You might have already seen it on our social media, but it's definitely worth it to be mentioned also here. So Zen is now available on Simple Swap, which is an exchange with more than 100 coins and tokens listed. Actually, I think it's the number is higher than that. It's something like 250, so it's very cool. And in particular, the process of exchanging cryptocurrencies is very simple, safe, comfortable, as users don't need to create accounts or store their funds at SimpleSwap. And also, they have a 24/7 customer service, which is very user-friendly in case you need help of the support team. So I would encourage you to check this also out. Then if you haven't checked our website for a while, please do so, as we are now listed on a large number of exchanges, including some of the biggest available today, and we have a lot of wallet integrations already in place. This is all thanks to the efforts of these amazing 2 years, but of course we're not stopping here. We are continuing to reach as many partners as we can, and also on the engineering side, we are working very hard towards the goals of this year, 2019. Rob is going to talk about it now, so I'm passing it back to him.
Thank you, Luca. I'm just waiting for the slide to load here, but you'll see here, these are the completed projects, basically for the first half of the year, Q1 and Q2. So as per our usual standards, guys, the items that are in black are not updated since the last month's live stream. Items in blue are things that we have new progress on, new status to report to you guys. So the big closed project here is we've actually created Spanish language support for Horizen Academy. So Angie's going to talk a little bit more about that later on in the regional update. But always really important for us. So we have a big community in different regions of the world. And if we are going to be a global project, we have to make sure that our content is easily accessible and useful to people around the world. And not everyone speaks English. So this is a big milestone for us, converting into a very important language for a big part of our community. So next slide, please. All right, so I have 2 slides on active projects here. So one thing I want to note is that we are working on multiple things concurrently. So we do a lot of work in parallel, and you're going to see some deliveries happening at the same time here. So basically this month, you're going to have a new software upgrade or release done and very shortly, actually. So we're working on releasing the code right now, but basically ZenD 2.0.18 is scheduled for release basically any moment now. So this includes some important feature improvements for us. So the updated RPC method for get block finality index, and also a check block at height safety control for orphan blocks. So the theme here, which is a theme that we like to foot stomp repeatedly, is we want it to be a very secure and robust blockchain. And our main chain has to be absolutely secure. So we're constantly working on making it more robust with security, especially for key stakeholders, particularly, say, exchanges and other operators that want to guard against, say, like 51% attacks. We need to constantly make our code base more robust, and this software upgrade is perfectly in line with that. And some of these features are designed to help allay or prevent types of attacks on the network. Something else that we're releasing in the near future here. So we're going to have basically concurrent release with Sphere by Horizen 1.2.1, or basically near concurrent release. Basically, once we have 2.0.18 live, then we're going to have the next version of Sphere by Horizen released. Some big improvements here, guys, for per request from the community. So node operators are a very big and important part of our ecosystem. And right now, or in the past, they've been using other wallets like Horizen to do batch split, batch withdraw. If you're running a whole bunch of nodes, it just makes the process a lot easier to manage them. With Sphere by Horizen now, with this next release, you're going to have these new features incorporated in there, as well as very useful sweep feature from Horizen and Swing for T-address wallet balances, and then some additional minor improvements, and obviously compatibility with the new ZenD release 2.0.18. Also, we have Horizen JS 2.0, 90% completion here. So getting ready to release that or complete that this quarter. Talked about some updates last time. And Sphere by Horizen Mobile is still ongoing with integration testing right now. So wrapping up the integration testing, looking to get system testing quickly following on there, and then release within Q4. You guys apologize. I skipped through I jumped to the second slide. So going back one slide quickly on, Luca is going to go into a lot more detail on the sidechain work that we have ongoing that you're going to see. And that's really in two parts here. So you're going to see one part is the sidechain SDK. So the toolkit that developers will have to be able to easily deploy their own blockchains that are sidechains on our network. And then also we have work to do on ZenD, our core protocol, to make it basically sidechainable or sidechain compatible, so that we can actually run linked sidechains on top of our core protocol. So two parallel development efforts that will culminate together into an alpha product basically by the end of Q3. So look forward to that. It's probably our biggest innovation to date. So we're doing it very rigorously, and the teams have been working quite hard for a long time. Luca is going to go into a bit more detail. So actually, with my skipping around the different slides here, guys, I think I've covered all the items in blue. So I'll hand it off to Luca, and you can go into more detail on the two ongoing sidechain projects.
Okay, Rob, thank you. Actually, I think it was perfect to keep the sidechain part at the end because it's a perfect link to this slide. So today I will be glad to present you also some text slides, and I will start with the sidechain project. Later we will talk also about ZenD. So during the last months, we updated you on this with our active project slides. But this time around, we decided to put together an additional couple of slides in order to spend a few more words about it. And this because the project is really big. We are putting a lot of effort into it. We hired and are constantly recruiting the finest members to the team. So for all these reasons, we believed it was worth spending a few more words on the project. Now, let's have a look at this first slide. So what we have described here is the first area 1, we define it, because as Rob was mentioning, we can consider this sidechain project to be divided into two main areas. So the first one includes the changes that need to be done on our main chain, and the second area embraces all we have to build on the sidechain side. Of course, we cannot just build a sidechain SDK because there are also very important changes that need to be performed on the main chain in order, for example, to allow sending coins to a sidechain. So as I was saying, with this first slide, we tried to capture the main activities that are needed on the main chain side. And we define them as milestone and sub-milestones. So one of the most important elements is the cross-chain transfer protocol, which is, as the name suggests, a protocol that allows cross-chain functionalities. For example, you can see some of them listed there: the chain declaration, certifiers lock, cross-chain transfers, and so on, to enable and support sidechains in the Horizen network. 3 sub-milestones are listed there. The first is the introduction of a new transaction version with new fields that, as I was mentioning, will allow operations like forward transfers, so to send coins from main chain to sidechain, but will also allow a sidechain declaration and other actions. And then we have the introduction of a field in the main chain block header, which can be used to store just the relevant info in sidechain blocks, but still allowing the possibility to validate them without the need to follow the main chain. So that's very important, also for efficiency and performances. And finally, new RPC methods to allow new transactions. So since some of the existing RPC methods are impacted, those will have to be adapted too, and that's why you can see different sub-milestones for that. These activities are ongoing and we are making good progress, so we will keep you posted about the completion of every single voice that you see listed here. Another milestone then is represented by the WebSocket interface that gives the ability to sidechain forgers to monitor sidechain related data in main chain blocks. And then we also have the BLS aggregated signature implementation as part of the project. So also these two tasks are in progress and everything is going in parallel. And then we have additional main chain core modifications that need to be implemented in order to allow, again, the sidechain declaration, but also monitor balances, the coin destruction on the main chain and recreation on the sidechain, the certifier selection, also very important, and so on. So we listed here also a milestone for the graphical wallet at the end that will be used for a sidechain support implementation. And let me say that these are all items that would be worth a presentation of several hours each, but that's just not possible today, so we could simply name them. This is for what regards, once again, the area 1, changes to the main chain. Now let's have a look at what we have to do and what we are actually doing on the sidechain side. So next slide, please. Thank you. So here again, we have several milestones and sub-milestones, and some of them are very similar to what we have just described, because the goals are very similar sometimes and even shared between main chain and sidechain. For instance, the first here is the cross-chain transfer protocol, as this protocol is also needed on sidechain for what regards, for example, the certificates that represent a significant part of these developments. And I'm speaking here about the creation, sending, calculation, signing, and so on, but also processing main chain blocks and transactions, handling the operations like forward transfers, sidechain declaration on the sidechain area. So again, we are working on all these items already, so the different developments are going in parallel. And then, of course, we have the SDK core part, because the CCTP that I just described here is part of the SDK itself. We have then the SDK core part, where one of the milestones was represented by the sidechain framework selection, and that's complete already with Scorex written in Scala, which is compatible with Java. So our sidechain SDK will be a Scorex-based Java software toolset that provides all the needed elements to build sidechains. The sidechain processing logic part 1 is completed already. So what do we mean with sidechain processing logic? We mean the logic of maintaining sidechain nodes and providing a sidechain network synchronization. Basically, the part 1 included items like the forward transfer, sidechain parsing implementation in main chain to sidechain, and also the related tests, as well as the implementation of main chain block reference difficulty validation, and finally, also the implementation of memory pool unit tests. So these items were described in last live stream if you were following it. And then with sidechain processing logic part 2, we are working on additional elements like implementing history-related components, implementing sidechain node view holder component, also the implementation of sidechain node view holder component, the integration tests for sidechain state and some components, and more. It's a very long list, so cannot mention everything now, but we are also planning on detailing every single tasks to give you evidence about all and about the progress. So this second part is in progress, while the first part, as mentioned, is completed. And another sub-milestone is represented by the SDK API request. And we just had a great progress on this part in the latest week. So that's ongoing, and it's going on very well. For what regards the consensus, if you have been following us in the last months, you should remember that in April, if I am not mistaken, we were analyzing still different alternatives, including Ouroboros Classic, Ouroboros Praus, and at the end we made a choice with Ouroboros Praus, so that's defined already. We will need to do some adaptations for integration. So before actually implementing it, we need to do some adaptations. So these are different sub-milestones, as you can see. And the BLS aggregated signature implementation is also required on the sidechain side, as well as the wallet for basic sidechain operations. So again, these two slides are very simple maybe, but the complexity behind all these tasks is very high. However, we are having a good, very good progress on all the different areas, and with next live stream, we'll be able to provide you with even more information and keep you informed about the progress we are doing. Now let's have a look at the next software upgrade. So next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, so a new version of Zen, which is named Zen 2018, is scheduled for release in these days. I cannot give you the precise day quite yet, but it could happen even today. So all exchanges, mining pools, node operators, and full node wallet users must upgrade to Zen 2018 prior to the block written there on the slide, which is going to occur around the 23rd of July. So Zen 2018 replaces the current version, which is 2017, which is set to deprecate, so no longer run. And the focus of this version is, as already announced by Rob in the previous slide, the RPC method get block finality index update, which tells the user after how many blocks a transaction can be considered safe without the possibility of being reverted anymore. And the check blocked height safety control for orphan blocks. So basically this is done in order to avoid mistakes in raw transaction creation. And we are notifying, of course, all our partners and exchanges about this update, as we always do in these cases. There is a dedicated team of people to do that, and we will continue until the deprecation date. So please keep following our blog and social media channels, because we are posting the links to update very soon. And this is a mandatory upgrade for everybody. It's not a hard fork, but it's a mandatory upgrade. Now I will pass it to Allan for the most recent updates about nodes. Thank you.
Thank you, Luca. And I just have a short update today. As most of you know, we had a little bit of a delay in the past because we thought we had a memory leak in the application for the tracking servers, and that was delayed. So we have been trying to get back on the schedule to get the tracking servers updated. And the priority has really been on the 2.0.18 and server kernel updates that we had to do. So we were just trying to rearrange things and wait for some time to be able to get the deployed, get the tracking servers deployed with the updates. But we've also been working on the backlog of issues and optimizations, and we'll try to incorporate those into the next update too. So there'll be a few more things in there, but that needs some testing, and then we'll deploy that hopefully by mid-July. The other thing that has been going on is the number of nodes have been increasing lately. We had a record 3,800 secure nodes added in June. That's more than we even had at the very beginning when we started back in December of 2017. And the total count is going up between the two systems, between secure and super nodes. We're up over 28,000 and closing in on 30,000. So that's pretty exciting to see this growing. And it also looks like in July here, we have more nodes being added fairly quickly. And with that, I will hand this over to Lucy for a marketing update.
Hey everyone, it's Lucy here from the marketing. So first of all, happy July to all of you. And then also happy July 4th to our American community. So we have a lot to cover today. So without further ado, let's begin. All right, so a few weeks before we gave a makeover to our website's homepage, and then recently we have made more improvements to the website. So particularly, we now have 3 completely updated pages. They are the what is Horizen page, wallet page, and the page about everyone's favorite cryptocurrency, Zen. So the improvement made it a lot easier for people to find useful information, and it made the content a lot easier to understand, and then also gave our website a refreshed look. So the improvement on our website is an ongoing effort. It doesn't stay, our website doesn't stay static as our project is evolving all the time. So our website basically being the storefront of our project needs to reflect to the progress that we are making. So the main goal of all the improvements that is to make sure that we make it easy as possible for people to learn about Horizen and what we are doing in general, and then also make it easy for people to find everything they need to join our ecosystem. And then many of the improvements are made based on the feedback that we received from our community, our team. So thank you for always being so supportive and helpful. So we will have more updates coming soon on our website, so stay tuned. Next slide, please. So, okay, this is something I'm super excited about. Horizen branded Cool Wallets. So for people who still don't know about Cool Wallet, it's a very cool hardware wallet that is compatible to with your smartphones. So being a hardware wallet, it provides one of the safest ways to store your cryptocurrency, which is cold storage. So basically, you store your cryptos offline and isolated. This wallet is very convenient to use and easy to travel with if you wish. And it looks just like a credit card, and it can be connected to your phone via encrypted Bluetooth. So Zen was integrated with Cool Wallet some time ago, but now we have a Horizen branded Cool Wallet for all of our Horizen fans. So it will be available very, very soon in our store for purchasing. So please make sure that you're already following us on social media and subscribe to our newsletter so you will get notified immediately once this becomes available, along with many other exciting news. Next slide, please. Okay, so we just wrapped up the second quarter of 2019. So let's revisit some of our biggest accomplishments in Q2. Next slide, please. Okay, so during the second quarter, we had one core software upgrade, which was Zen 2.0.17, which includes a major protocol improvement. And also we have another core software upgrade coming soon, like Luca mentioned, the Zen 2.0.18. It's coming up very, very soon. And then also we have 4 integrations with exchanges, and our engineering team expanded with 2 new engineers. And our flagship app, Sidechain, received 2 updates, and we will have another one coming up very soon. With very exciting new features Rob just mentioned earlier. And as usual, our team was very busy and active all over the world, attending and speaking at different events. So during the Q2, our team participated in events in 15 different cities in 12 different countries. Next slide, please. All right, so here are some highlights of our community growth on social media. So we had 12% overall community growth across newsletter and YouTube subscription. And following on Twitter and Facebook, there's also almost 17% growth on the page views to our Reddit page during the Q2. So we created a new Reddit page since when we rebranded to Horizen, and we have been encouraging people to, of our encouraging our existing followers from the old page to the new one since. So it's really nice to see the traffic growth to our new Reddit page. And the biggest growth we see in our Twitter organic impression. So starting from April, we started to see huge increase in organic impression, increased by 573%, and impression per tweet increased by 912%. So the even more exciting part is that our Twitter performance has been remaining this growth since April. So it was just not a single time spike. It actually stayed this impressive growth. So it's really nice to see. And all the growth that we have that we received on social media are organic, meaning that we are not paying for any of the followers or engagement. So it's just really nice to see that we are getting that kind of response. And next slide, please. So on this slide, we will go a little more detail into our other growth. So our website, Horizen.global, we see very steady growth across the board on all the actions that we received. We received on the website, and like I mentioned just now, that we made some improvement to our website, and then we see really nice growth in engagement and also user retention rate on our website. So that tells us that the improvements is helping our visitors to give them a better user experiences, and the people are staying on our website more and then going through more information. And here is another graph on the Twitter impressions on the Q2. As you can see, again, we have a big growth, and it remained high since mid-April. And the same on the blog side, that we see a increase on the duration on average session. So people are staying and reading, spending more time basically on our blog site, and the lower bounce rate, meaning that they are viewing more pages instead of just coming and go. And the one on the right-hand side is just showing an overall growth on all the platforms on how many people are following us. So we see a steady growth on all of them. And next slide, please. Okay, so again, trivia. Rob gave a really, really nice introduction about trivia that we do every month now for the live stream. And we believe that, and then we introduced this, exactly in second quarter, and we believe that it really contributed to the growth that we received on social media as well, because it's really a more engaging and interactive way to communicate and to interact with our viewers, so we we decided to do this time and in the future as well. And of course, if you have more interesting ideas and different ideas, and please feel free to share with us. We are always listening and very excited to try out new things to communicate or to interact with our community. So we had 3 winners from our last month's trivia, and then they received their prize as well. And then we will have 3 more for this month. And you can see the secret code on the screen. So make sure that you use the secret code to gain the access to our trivia. So for people who are new to this, so this is anyone who's watching our live stream can join, and you will find all the answers to the questions from this live stream. So please make sure that you stay until the end, so you will get all the answers that you need to win this game. And also, make sure that you follow us on social media, because we will post the link to of this trivia on our social media. All right. Oh, good luck, everyone. And next slide, please. Okay, so this is a very exciting event. Angie is attending tomorrow in Mexico City, and Angie has some free tickets to give away, and then we ran a competition which was very successful, and we also picked our winners. So these 3 winners will receive a free ticket to this very large and popular event. It's the largest blockchain event in South America. So each ticket's worth $250. So it's a really good value price. So I'm very excited, and congratulations to all the winners. And Angie will have more information about it later on. Next slide, please. So these are the upcoming events that we have in July and then also in October. So tomorrow we will have a Horizen meetup in Paris, France, and Manon will be hosting the meetup, and then I just meant, and then also tomorrow and the day after we have a conference in Ukraine, and Angie will be going to the blockchain summit in Mexico City, and we have a joint point 2019 in Armenia. That's all the way in October, and then I'm sure we'll have more events before October, and then we will share with people once we have more information on them. Next slide, please. Okay, so we are moving to regional updates, and this is where our regional leads give updates on what they're doing and what they have done in their region. So I will pass the mic to Angie. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Lucy. Hello, everyone. I'm so glad to be here today. So we have a lot of exciting news from the Latin American region. June was an amazing month. As Lucy mentioned, we are attending tomorrow and Friday. Me and Ruben will be attending the Blockchain Summit LatAm, which is quite a big event in the whole Latin American region. This is amazing. So we hope to see some Horizen fans there. Congratulations to Amanda, Carlos, and Euclides for winning the tickets. So we hope to see you guys there and take us some pictures together. We also had the second part of the AMA session with Binance Latin America, and this went crazy. It was awesome. Actually, just today reached 3K viewers. Some of the pictures I posted there was a lot of interactions, people asking questions. So it was a great session as well. And it's awesome that the Latin American community is asking for more sessions together. So I was super happy to host another session with them. Okay, so we attended a blockchain meetup in Monterrey City. As you can see there in the picture, there's a growing community in Monterrey, in Mexico, in different cities. So this is great because we're spreading the word as always, which is amazing. What else? Okay, we're having some Spanish videos coming. So this is great because we will show people how to install nodes and follow the node guide and so on and so forth. So we will look forward for having those videos released pretty soon. And next slide, please. I'm super happy to announce that, and as Rob mentioned, that Horizen Academy is now available in Spanish. So here is the link. Make sure, guys, to check that out because it's amazing. All the work that has been put on behind this is amazing from the whole team, from Ruben, who was an essential part of this. So it's good that we can spread knowledge in different languages. It is not an easy task. So I'm super, super happy to finally announce this. So make sure to check that out. And for all the Latin American community, stay tuned for more surprises and more things. So I'm going to pass it on now to Manon. Thank you, guys. See you next one.
Thank you, Angie. So yeah, there is few upcoming events in France that are coming. So tomorrow I will be in Paris with Dorian at Soph's Bar. So to speak about Horizen project. The 3rd of August I will be at La Calmette to the La Calmette karting. So that's a meetup organized by the karting, and I will speak about Horizen project in there. There is also a meetup the 17th of September in Alsace. So you will have the choice of the cities in Strasbourg that will be. So you can buy some cart in Zen. So in the website magiccart.eu, and you can go also for cat tours with lacalmettekarting.fr. So that in the south of the France. Also, congratulations to Jubrody and Alexa who won on Facebook for contest, and also with Gad and Angie, who won on Twitter. We were supposed to have only 2 winners in each social media, but thanks to Air Connect Radio, we had 2 more winners. So really, thank you, Air Connect Radio, for that. And now I pass it to Luca for the next news.
Thank you, Manon. Okay, so since today Vano is flying to Odessa in Ukraine to attend the BIP event, it will be my privilege to present you the progress on the Eastern Europe and the other markets where Vano and Alex are active. So first of all, Vano has been interviewed by a French magazine named Uzbek and Rika, and this interview was about Horizen and blockchain environment in Georgia specifically. So that gave us a pretty nice visibility in the region. And he then also attended the Dell Technologies Forum in Tbilisi that attracted several hundreds of professionals. Wearing an eye-catching Horizen team t-shirt, Vano was able to capture the attention of people belonging to middle but also big size enterprises. So he did a lot of networking and presented it then to several stakeholders. After that, we also organized a Horizen meetup in Tbilisi, Georgia. So this was on June 27th. And the aim of it was to introduce attendees to blockchain, of course, also cryptocurrencies, and to then end on the Horizen ecosystem. So meetups like these are also the perfect occasion to present our Horizen Academy, which is always very appreciated by the community of people that are just entering into the blockchain space. If you're hearing Horizen Academy only today for the first time, please check it on our website. It's free and open to everyone who has the desire to learn more about these fascinating technologies. And we have created it for the central purpose of sharing our knowledge. So please check it out. But this was also the month where Vano participated also as a panelist in a Digital Hot conference in Tbilisi and talked about Horizen and the opportunity for Georgian companies to do cutting-edge technology digital projects in Georgia by leveraging our upcoming Sidechain SDK. So for what regards upcoming events, as I was telling you at the beginning, Vano will be attending the BIP 001 conference, also known as Blockchain Incredible Party Conference. This on July 4th and 5th in Odessa, Ukraine. And he will also attend a blockchain meetup on July 6th, always in Odessa, which will be the great occasion also to meet the Italian Giacomo Zucco. If you don't know him, check him out. I'm not sure if Vano has already met him in the past, but for sure you will meet him on July the 6th, again in Odessa. So then after this, something planned for the future already. If you remember, we were speakers at the last Blockchain UA conference in Kiev. So we are planning to be there also for the next conference in September, and Vano will be part of the team going there. Another event on his calendar is also the Chainpoint 2019 in Yerevan, Armenia, which is happening in October. And lastly, please let me remind you that we now have a new large Georgian meetup group. It's called, as you can see on the slide, Horizen Georgia Meetup. So please join it, as we will be planning new meetups during next month that you should not really miss if you are in the nearby area. So I will also cover the update of the Italian market. So next slide, please. Okay, so here comes my update for the Italian market. Last month was very exciting for multiple reasons. I'll start from our sponsorship of the Blockchain and Distributed Ledger Observatory. Now, since we are a sponsor, during the last weeks, we had the pleasure to attend 2 workshops at Politecnico di Milano. And our name is displayed together with names like Accenture, Entity Data, Deloitte, EY, but also some of the top Italian telcos, utilities, insurances like Generali, and so on. So one first thing to report is that this observatory really captured the interest of the biggest players from all the market verticals. And Horizen was also selected between the, let me say, cool startups. It had another Italian label, but this was the category, let me say. So I had the opportunity to pitch Horizen to about, if I recall well, 100 top managers from the companies that I was telling you. And it was just great. Then the second workshop was a table about traceability and why it's important that companies start using public blockchain instead of permissioned solutions that couldn't bring any real advantage. So I would say that the collaboration with the Italian university is going great. And the proof of it is that just some days ago, they invited us to host a workshop for ABB, because ABB is interested in understanding better the blockchain technology in general, but also know how Horizen was launched, what have we achieved in these 2 years, what are we currently working on, and how can our platform be leveraged for real blockchain project. So that was really great. And here I had the chance to meet with something like 20 people between middle and top managers from ABB. And if you don't know ABB, it's a multinational corporation operating mainly in robotics and power. And they have been listed on the Fortune 500 list for something like 25 years in a row. So their revenues last year were 27 billion. So let me say it's a giant. And I had the privilege to present them what is Horizen, why they should be interested in us, what they can possibly achieve with sidechains. So these kind of workshops with Politecnico di Milano will continue in the next months, and I will keep you posted on those. Then another important and exciting thing to be reported is that we were invited to join the Zcon 1 conference organized by Zcash in Croatia, and in particular in Split. So in order to attend, we had to join Split. Sorry for the word game, but I couldn't resist that. Perfectly organized by Zcash. And our director of research and development, Alberto Garofalo, was there together with Maurizio Pinello from the Horizen engineering team. So this was an amazing experience because of the concentration of some of the best cryptographers in the world and other ridiculous talents with which we had the chance to talk, to present what we are doing, to exchange opinions and get feedbacks. In particular, we met Zuko Wilcox from Zcash, but also Devra Hopwood, Vitalik Buterin as well, and really dozens of other people that include some of the greatest talents and minds in the industry. In particular, what we discussed about our Sidechain project and the approach we are following. So it was great to get the confirmation from these people that we are going in the right direction. Some of them even gave us some suggestions on specific elements. So that was absolutely great and worth it, and probably the best tech event we attended this year so far. So this was it for what regards the Italian market and more in general the Italian team. So Rob, I think we can start the traditional Q&A session.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much, Luca. Thank you everyone for presenting. You guys can see that the team is churning at full throttle constantly, making some really good progress. So guys, let's see the questions that I've seen here. So Nate, great job compiling them. There's a general theme that I'm seeing about people a little nervous about US-based exchanges delisting projects. So what we can say is, number one, first of all, we have very good relations with the exchanges that we're on. Two, we're aggressively pursuing other US-based exchanges. And three, we have no indications at all from any of our exchange partners that Zen is at risk of delisting, but we're always, very much on the ball with respect to that stuff. So if anything changes there, of course, we want to be the first to, let everyone know. But probably the most important thing for us to do is to keep being aggressively try to get listed on other exchanges. Luca, any questions you want to field?
Yeah, I can see one about sidechains. So maybe since I talked a lot about sidechains, can take it. Is there a limit on how many sidechains can be running? So what I can tell you already is that we are preparing an architecture that is made in a way that it will be absolutely scalable, and we will be able to support limited sidechains. And the good news is that they will not have an impact on our main chain. So this because specifically the main chain will not have to follow the sidechains. So what I'm saying is that there will be some ways for sidechain and main chain to communicate. For example, we spoke about RPC methods, WebSocket, but thanks to the architecture we are defining, the main chain will not have to follow sidechains. Actually, main chain will not know anything about sidechain logics and contents, and that will translate in super scalability from this point of view.
Great. And question specifically on whether or not Binance US will be listing Zen. So actually, I don't have information on this. I would assume so, but I don't want to go out there and say something that I'm not really sure. Luca, I don't know if you've heard anything specifically on that.
No, I don't have anything to add on that.
Okay, cool.
I can see a question. Will Zen adopt the Dash upgrade regarding 51% attacks? So we have already our own solution against the 51% attack. We designed it, we implemented it. It's in production already. And if you want to know more information about that, you can check our white paper. If I recall well the link, it's horizen.global/research.
And Al Hilal asking whether or not Horizen Mobile will be able to run a full node and then hence be able to do shielded transactions. No, not in the near future. That's not part of the roadmap. Just the technical ability is not there. So what we're going to have initially are light clients, or a light client that will run on Android and iOS.
Yeah. How do I get the Horizen branded cool wallet? So seems like community is liking it. So as Lucy was saying, this will be available very soon on our official store, which is available at store.horizen.global. So we will have to wait a little bit for that. But meanwhile, you can get all the other products that are listed there. I personally just placed an order for the Tame the Beast t-shirt. I couldn't resist.
Yeah, just a little more information on the cool wallets. So the wallet have already arrived in the fulfillment warehouse. So we are just waiting for them to update the inventory. So once that's done, they will be available in our store. Although I think I've just heard someone in the audience suggested that we should do a giveaway of a free cool wallet. Well, I think that's a great idea, and we may just do that. So again, make sure that you follow us on social media and subscribe to our newsletter. I know I sound like a broken record sometimes, but I don't want you to miss out on any exciting news from us, things like a free Horizen cool wallet. So follow us.
And Al Hilal, another question. So yes, actually really good point. We have something like, or we're approaching 30,000 secure and super nodes combined. That's going to be a huge milestone for us to hit. But also we have other people that are just running full nodes that aren't being counted. So we actually don't count them ourselves, but we have in the past written crawlers that can do that. So it's technically very, very feasible to do that. Basically, anytime anyone launches a full client wallet, they're running a full node, and they're not necessarily being compensated as secure super node operators, but they're still contributing to the network. So we do for sure have more full nodes than just the secure super node aggregate would look like.
I have a question from Nico from the Italian community, which is about sapling and if it's going to be included in this software release. So short answer is no. Explanation is upstream sapling is not included in this Zen version because what happened was that Zen 2.10, which was the software upgrade bringing sapling, was postponed due to a known denial of service back in the upstream sapling. So the new release date will be defined once fixed, but we can tell you that the development of that specific release has already started and it was already at a good point. So the features will come. We just don't know the date yet because we have to wait for the fix. But we will bring upstream sapling and transaction signature scheme and many other elements.
And Charlie, very, very controversial question on what would we do if either the US or EU governments were to outright ban privacy coins. So we have, obviously this is something on our radar. I don't think it's a very likely near-term risk, but it's something we absolutely need to consider, especially because as this nonprofit corporation that we have that runs, Zen Blockchain Foundation, that is a US nonprofit. So we certainly have to comply with all laws and regulations of the US government, and we would want to be compliant with all major government laws and regulations, in particular the EU. Now, how we would handle this and how we would, we would restructure the project or what we would do going forward is TBD. It's on our radar. We're definitely giving it some thought, but it is very much, nuanced of a question. So great question. I wish I had a better answer for you rather than just tiptoeing around it politically.
Do you see any other question, Rob?
Sure.
So
let's see, how will sidechains be secure? I don't know if you want to tackle that one with some recursive snarks, or do we want to, we actually haven't released the extended model technical specifications, so we probably shouldn't go into that.
Yeah, so we are, of course, putting a lot of effort around security of the system, and so we have it absolutely in. We are working on it every day. We are doing extremely good progress every day on it. We cannot deep dive into the details because it's still not disclosed, but it will be soon, and there will be eventually also a revised version, a new version of the white paper that will also describe this part.
And probably the last question I see here is, have we considered BFT or DAG as consensus upgrades or changes? So we have extensively considered DAG. It's still part of our project roadmap. We've even prototyped a DAG implementation based on the Spectre protocol, but we've actually paused further development of that project. Mainly just the reality is the way that we're structured right now with the limited resources we have is that we can do, probably one really big innovative project at a time, and then also product stuff, and then maintenance stuff, right? And then infrastructure stuff. So we're still doing a lot of things with different teams as a project, but in terms of the core R&D, engineering team, we really just have the capacity to one really big innovative project at a time right now. And that is sidechains at this point in time. Now we do have DAG as, our preferred main chain, upgrade once we're done with sidechains, and we've matured it to the point of a prototype, but beyond that, we haven't moved forward.
Yeah, and I don't know if Charlie Henry Smith, the person that was asking this question, was asking it about main chain. If he was asking it about sidechain, what I can tell you is that the choice of Ouroboros Praus was made because it was satisfying all the requirements we had. It was just perfect. We consider many different consensus models, but at least for the alpha, we took the Ouroboros Praus, and we will just have to adapt it in order to be integrated in our model.
And great point there. So long term, there isn't going to be a restriction on a particular type of consensus. The only restriction is going to be whether or not it conforms with the main chain interface, basically. So we'll be releasing this Ouroboros Praus based consensus sidechain initially, but the thought is to have multiple consensus types. The consensus mechanism itself will be a choice of users. And we'd like to do some R&D to curate some of these, make it easier. Even the language at which developers will be able to deploy their own sidechains, we want to be numerous or multiple languages going forward. So we want this to be fully generalizable, flexible, and really, cater to the developer community that we want, this to be very useful for. So I don't know if we have any other questions, if you guys see, but otherwise it's been a really good live stream. We're about 5 minutes over time. We started a few minutes late, so that's totally fine. But guys, thank you very much for joining us. Always a pleasure to give you guys these updates so that you can see firsthand what the team's doing and who's working on this stuff, who's running the divisions and putting in all the hard work. I think it's always best to hear from them directly. And Lucy would kill me if I didn't end this by saying, guys, like all of our social media, join our social media, like this video on YouTube, retweet it, repost, be active members of the community. The more activity and engagement we have, the more we know how to operate, efficiently as a project and make sure that we're doing things that you guys actually want to see. So thank you very much, and we'll see you again next month.